What Netflix's Sweet Tooth changed from the comics? Before we start, I would like to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Trendy Spotlight. Sweet Tooth is a success on Netflix. June 2021 marked the beginning of Sweet Tooth on Netflix, and the series garnered fantastic reviews upon its release. Focusing on a boy who is half human and half deer survives in a post-apocalyptic world with other hybrids. For IMDb, Sweet Tooth was a terrific addition to Netflix's lineup, and it had a lot of hype behind it prior to its release. The series has Robert Downey Jr. and his wife Susan on board as executive producers, and they saw early on that the source material would be fantastic. We heard there was the great graphic novel series, and it just had this incredible emotional breadth of the storytelling. Downey said, "Reading the source material was not a requirement for the show, but those that did were pleasantly surprised at how good of a job the show did with the material. It was penned by an exceptional storyteller after all. It was based on a Jeff Lemire comic." The Sweet Tooth comics were penned by the brilliant Jeff Lemire, and it seemed like a natural pick to be developed into a project one day. Lemire had trepidation about who was adapting his beloved comic, but thankfully, he linked up with the right people. I think anytime you put yourself out there the way I try to do with my work, there's always an initial trepidation about who's going to adapt and what their take on it will be. But to be honest, I had conversations with Jim Mickle, the showrunner, from a very early stage. When he was just thinking about adapting, we had some long conversations. You can get a pretty good read on people pretty quickly. I kinda knew that Jim was a kindred spirit. A lot of the themes he's interested in, the stories he likes to tell, and just him as a human being. He seemed like the right person. Any concerns I had pretty quickly eased. Lemire told Sci-Fi, "All in all, the first person of the show was a success, and it has already been approved for a second season." As we stated, fans of the source material enjoyed the show, but there were some major changes that were made along the way. The major differences between the show and comic. So, what are some of the biggest changes that Netflix made to Jeff Lemire's original Sweet Tooth story? While the tone of the comics and even its characters are much darker, as the show offers something lighter and a bit more palatable for casual audiences, there are also scenes that were invented just for the show, as well as moments that differ from how they were depicted in the pages. Scenes at Amy's Preserve and at Dr. Singh's Stepfordian community are invented entirely for the show. The Preserve is mentioned in the comic, but it's never confirmed to exist, and likely does not, given the comic's relentlessly dark tone. The first time Gus and readers meet Wendy and Dr. Singh is at a Last Man facility, where Gus finds himself in the final episode of the season. Also new to the TV series are Gus and Big Man Cyclops through an outdoor sporting goods store, and the entire Animal Army's arc Den of Geek Notes. Lemire would touch on why the changes were made, and I feel to do it just like I did in the comic might feel like we're seeing the same thing we've seen in a dozen other shows. The visual language of the apocalypse would feel kind of familiar and kind of boring, you know? So I think Jim was smart in leaning into the idea of nature returning in that aspect of this world, and kind of creating a post-apocalyptic future that was a little different than what you normally see. I think that's good, he said. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.